Those left behind, some jeer, some are in awe, some dance in joy, some spend the night sleepless. A coastal view that no one can see anywhere in Iberia. Rubble close by indicates the place may have once been a prosperous village, but now only a solitary wind chime left hanging on a wall echoes the waves as they hit the shore. Bewildered slithering sounds, yes. A wave washes a sea terror onto the beach. No. Perhaps it might have followed the wave to dry land. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to have a goal in mind. Merely wanders, looks around, just like its brethren do. It shouldn't have found anything. All it can see while standing in its overgrowth is the endless ocean and the sky. But in the next moment, as if it has sensed something and looks towards a certain direction, the never-changing sky is swept by a wave of ripples. Doubtful growling. It looks in that direction, but there is only an endless sky. Soon after, its compatriots arrive. Its kin, its wee many. All their eyes look in the same direction. As an attendant apologizes to the proprietor, he props up his master, a court musician, and helps him leave the bar. Mind her, you shouldn't drink anymore. Don't get in my way. I can't figure out a tune, so I might as well just drink myself to death. Ugh. Mind her. Didn't you draft several pages yesterday? I think the third song is honestly not bad at all. At least you know me well. But 9, this will not do. It is not good enough. There is still something missing. A key ingredient. Do you understand? A kind of psychedelic and yet magnificent. An image of madness. Of course, I understand you completely. You're always chasing this kind of work. Huh? Oh, I must really be drunk. What's wrong? I saw waves streaking across the horizon. Waves? I should take you to a doctor. What is that? The attendant lifts his head towards the sky to see halo-like waves sweep across the night. This is... Could I have somehow gotten secondhand intoxication to the air? The clouds are like waves, and the sky is a curtain. Boots are good. They're on. Go quick. Take me home. No. Hand me a pen, quickly. Here. Have you found some inspiration? Inspiration? No. What I have discovered is a wellspring. Under the dim streetlights, the musician lies down on the floor on his stomach, writing in a frantic pace without a care for his image. Tonight, many an artist slept nary a wink. Take a gander at this, happy lot. They think the storm is already over and Victoria merely had a little hiccup. Whatever they possess is still intact, and will continue to remain as is. How I wish I could share their optimism. Sir, there's something I need you to see. What's happened? You're not the sort to be a killjoy at a time like this. It seems something has happened in Columbia. Seems? Yes, we are urgently collecting information at this moment. Has our rebellious child again done something incomprehensible with the science and technology they're so overly proud of? That is yet to be determined, but at the present, I can confirm that this is information you must know. Just how important is this matter that I have to be proactive instead of waiting for you to bring it to me? It is honestly beyond the scope of my abilities. The Count realizes the bitter smile on his trusted subordinate's face, and this shifts his originally joking mood to one of surprise. His officer only knows to tell the truth, and this means that something has indeed happened. The Count walks to the window and immediately realized why his subordinate was at a loss for words. That was information physically impossible to be brought before him, but also a reality that no one could ignore. What sort of natural phenomenon is this? We immediately hired experts relevant to this field, and combined with the information from Columbia over the past few days, they have proposed some valuable theories. Site 359 Spy Dossier. Investigation report on the Maylander Foundation. And what are these? Academic papers? Barrier? Tell me the key points of note. This layer of ripples has originated from Columbia and is extremely unnatural. After conducting some simple observations, we believe that the findings align perfectly with the long-forgotten theory in the world of science. The sky above our heads is indeed false. Something has happened, and we know nothing about it. We have already mobilized all our spies in Columbia, and they will soon bring us results. Spare no expense. I want an answer before tomorrow morning to bring to the Duke of Normandy. Yes, sir. My lord, I would like to introduce you to my distant nephew to you. Tonight's banquet ends here and now. Eh? The Count needs his peace and quiet now, so please return home, Viscount. Very well. The Count looks at the distant sky without saying a word. Tonight, conspiracies hatch in alleys, while countless politicians toss and turn in their beds. Warning. Energy overload. Energy overload. Shockwaves from the energy surplus have impacted the entirety of Hammer. Secondary disengagement protocol acceleration complete. All secondary cabins, mounting devices, and external energy lines have been separated from the Galleria Stellaria's main body. All personnel evacuate via the escape pod and execute return protocol. Repeat. All personnel evacuate via the escape pod and execute return protocol. This goddamn weightlessness. Couldn't they have made the escape pod just a bit smaller, not the size of an entire room? Quick, get that self-balancing system up and running. We gotta stabilize this room first at the very least. My bones are about to shatter from being tossed around like marbles in a box. I know, I'm working on it. I hate manually disengaging lock mechanisms so much. Especially in times like these. Alright, it's stable. Now to check the return protocol. The drogue and pilot parachutes have been launched. Landing trajectory is on auto adjust. If you look up, there's still time to bid your farewells to control. Hey Bullet, look at the corridor. Isn't that Director Miosis? Director Miosis, get in quick. There's still seats. You should have clearance to enter. This is the escape pod. The escape pod has existed since the very beginning of Arc 01's design phase. And we ran several rounds of navigation and pressure tests before, so don't worry. You're Claude, right? I remember you. You You've all been in the component's control for many, many years. Before Hammer took flight control? No. Kristen disbanded the Ryan Lab components control section. The last job she assigned us was to assist the energy charging and focusing. All calibration, maintenance, and security tasks have already been completed. When we return to the ground, we'll all get new contracts, leave Rhine, and leave Trimounts. Alright. What's this? A remote sensor recorder. It provides real-time feedback from the biological data in the vivarium. Control said it would be helpful to you. So I was going to send it over to Ecological once I got it back on the ground. The data was just updated. I'm really sorry. Wait, don't tell me right away. Not so fast. This is... How many years did it take? Go. In the short span of time after Galleria Stellaria broke through the barrier, the death rate of the 753 plants have exceeded 90%. The rest are expected to survive. Kristen, what exactly does it look like? Beyond the star pod, you're fully aware of sharing the same possible fate. And yet you're unwilling to cut off your trip. You've kept your promise to us all. But did you plan on traveling solo? From the very beginning? And sorry, she... Wait, the acceleration is still increasing. Our descent speed hasn't slowed at all. We're falling even faster than before. What's going on, Bullet? The shockwave from the energy overload must have messed up the return protocol. I can't reverse it. Both parachutes have failed and the self-balancing system is about to malfunction. Wait, isn't this equipped with gravity-related original arts module? Find the arts unit, quick! Right. But the current high temps and energy shock from earlier have fried a third of the modules. Current height, 3,454.37 meters. There's no stopping it. I hate not being able to jump out of the pod right now to lighten it. The heat insulation layer. The speed's too fast. And the escape pod's layer is about to burn through completely. The damage rate is at 60%. The wall is deforming. It'll disintegrate at this rate. Ugh. Bullet? Son of a bitch. Couldn't you have passed out after installing the arts unit? How can this be? All return to ground structures have gone through several rounds of testing. There's no simulation that can reproduce a passenger cabin. Returning to the ground from maximum height. Science requires first-hand verification. And that's what we're doing right now. We should head over to the inner cabin ASAP. The seats are cushioned and there are oxygen masks. We might just... At this rate, we'll hit the ground in a minute. No one's gonna survive. Shit! I don't even have time to record a video message. Are there people waiting for you? The tremendous centrifugal? Sorry. Force throws Claude against the corridor's bulkhead. His face is pressed against the glass. And he sees a small, shiny spike. No. It is a person. A figure tightly bound in thick layers of calcium. He confirms what he is seeing. But this means that the opposite figure is falling at the same speed as them. And maybe even faster. Director Saria? She's probably passed out. At such a height, even the thickest calcium becomes a fragile layer of eggshell. And she herself doesn't even thicker than it. Damn it! Water. A vast body of water. Water seeps from the escape pod's bulkhead, stretching in midair like a living organism. The escape pod is falling at high speed, and a large river of water is being towed by gravity and vaporizing. But several thick walls still manage to form in the direction Saria is falling. Claude feels like he is seeing a lake without a shore or a lake bed. He looks at it from the bottom, and the waves are folding in layers as they sway over his head. If he wasn't currently busy trying to save himself, he feels as if he must follow and learn from the Ursus poets on how to look for the right words. Describe the scene in front of him. Water also rises in the cabin, and he is pushed back in the interior. Director Miosis, you're melting? Saria? I guess you did end up fighting with Kristen after all. So even you couldn't stop her. In the end, we couldn't do anything. These water barriers can give you somewhat of a buffer. So if you can, I hope you live. Shucks. I probably look real ugly like this. But if I could go back and had this level of determination to pump all the water out of me right now, could I have changed a lot of things. The water gently envelops everything in its body. All components control employees. Prepare for impact. Hold your breath. It's easy to choke when you're submerged in water. Go and meet the people waiting for you. The first New Year's Eve after the founding of Rhine Lab. Before the show ended, did they actually dance together? The dance of three? She has kind of forgotten. Saria, what did you see? Just the sky. That's right, the sky. I sat on this stump as a kid, watching my parents test flight after flight from the hill in front of us. Later, they brought me along. After they died, I never came back here. Until now. You're the first. And that's why you hate the sky? If I were 10 now, having just witnessed everyone's reactions to their deaths, and just finished going through their belongings, I would tell you yes. But that's not my current answer in mind. Worries, pressure, questions, division, and bills from corporate and government sectors. These factors didn't hold my parents back, so they're not even worth mentioning. All the way, my parents staunchly advanced towards their goals, and they only lost to themselves in the end. If the journey is destined to end prematurely, then I too will willingly die on the way there. Don't say something that ominous. Can I succeed? I don't know, but I'm set on doing it. I inherited everything from my parents, and I've gone even further than they did. Kristen? Saria, I'm not asking anything from you. I'm just sharing some past events with my best friend. I understand. So, any thoughts? Weren't you merely sharing a story? Oh, you're such a burden beast. Say something at least? The sky is really beautiful. She knows that no one has ever seen the view at such a high altitude from a position, and that the Galleria Stellaria is getting further and further away from her. But she cannot open her eyes. She is falling at high speed. The wind howls, scraping against her face like a knife, and the cold, thin air rushes into her nasal cavities, making breathing difficult. Raw calcium accumulates in a frenzy, forming a thick crystalline layer around her body, so as to prevent her dying from the violent air friction. But she cannot do anything about the impact when she lands. It was already over. The vertigo from weightlessness hits her. No matter how hard she resists, she loses consciousness. Falling thousands of meters from the sky obviously only takes a few minutes. But why is it taking so long to experience death? She vaguely senses her falling onto the surface of water, her speed somewhat slowing down, and afterwards admits a burst of mechanical buzzing. It feels like as if she has fallen into the clouds again. How soft it was. Saria. Saria. It sounds like someone is calling for her. A familiar voice. Don't say anything yet. Eye movement, response normal. This should be local internal bleeding, but cardiopulmonary functions are normal. The impact caused multiple external injuries. A slightly torn flexor tendon in the left leg. I will apply a temporary treatment on the affected area. Fortunately, there isn't any serious damage to your bodily functions. But when you return to Tri-Mounts, you need to undergo a comprehensive medical exam. Saria, do you have a headache? I'm fine. Good. I crushed your drone. And these air cushions. It's fine. Where's Ifrit? Is she not with you? She joined the search and rescue efforts too, so she should be nearby. Let's go meet up with her. Can you stand? Come. I'll help you up. Silence. Thanks. The clouds have parted, and now we can get an even more clearer view of the sky. Yes, the sky is really beautiful. Are you not going to ask your question? Ask what? What happened in the Galleria Stellaria? Would you tell me? I'll need some time. Then, do you want to know? Know what? What happened down here when you went to stop Kristen? Will you tell me? I will. I need to know everything. Likewise, Saria. I need you to be fully informed, to be better prepared. This is the only way we can ensure that we won't make any missteps on the road ahead of us. It sounds like you already have an idea. Hold on to my shoulder. The road is hard to walk, and I have no way of lifting you up completely. So we have to go together. Claude, Benji, Johan, Bullet. The escape pod makes a deep hole in the ground, and the hatch flies out, smashing a boulder into pieces. The inner cabin has completely warped, the infrastructure and equipment looking as if they were wrung out by a pair of hands. Oh, I'm over here. What a relief. You're all right. I'm alive? Wasn't the escape pod malfunctioning? We dropped from an altitude of over 5,000 meters and we're still alive? Oh. Ouch. Easy on the hug. It hurts. Seems like those art modules managed to help decelerate us a little after all. Don't get cocky now, Bullet. You know you're the luckiest one out of all of us here. Hitting your head on the console and passing out at our most critical moment, then waking up just as we landed safely. Must have been Annie's prayers working on you, huh? Aren't you guys getting married next year? Hey, why do I feel like I drowned earlier? All of you are soaking wet too. It's not like the pod landed in a lake, so what even happened? Have you guys seen direct osmosis? Water is still flowing out of the bulkhead connected to the escape pod. But there is no mud in the area. Night breeze will soon dry up the earth. hell. Dame Kelsey. I must admit that we are alike. My empathy with Dr. Rain's emotions merely comes from an emotional module that has yet to be erased even after these tens of thousands of years. I'm not Friston himself, merely a tool that was made. But you are of more flesh and blood than I am, with more freedom. This makes me feel a little envious. Any words of comfort will sound like I'm belittling your mission, Friston. I'm glad to have a life like this, and not just this one. I'm glad I'm not just a simple machine. I have already been searching for an original answer. From the very moment I began my walk in the dust of disappointment. I have experienced more direct losses than you have, but I can also say that I have gained even more in return. If everything here had yet to happen, you might even have been able to travel through the land currently known as Terra, just like Dr. Rain did once. If there is a chance, I'll be happy to take it. I have a request. You're the only one who knows how to operate this system. So I would like you to erase these twisting data spanning 4,765,403 days. Keep only my emotions and original memories. Let me die as Trevor Friston, even if I can only die as a replica. I understand your decision, but this process will take a lot of time. And you? This is too cruel a fate for you. I wish to face the skies that were once free, but not as a lofty judge in an ivory tower, nor as a ghost. At least, let me face the remorse and guilt I have as a person, from sending my compatriot to the doom with my own hands. Let me at the very least see from a purist perspective how you will face the future. To think of that sky is my final wish. You don't have to blame yourself like that. Thank you. You might call this arrogance, but I must say this nonetheless. The weight of life, the weight of civilization. You can't possibly even begin to imagine how heavy it is right now. No one has the capability to decide for others what the value of their lives are. This belongs to the past, and so I will not go too deep into it. But remember this, Dr. Rain. This will sooner or later become a multiple choice question about the present, and will be extremely important to you. But presently, I'll say it again. Thank you. This is the final thing I can say. Go, Kelsey. I have already granted all privileges. Let me meet my end as a person. I respect your decision. Please wait just a moment. Say no with a choice. Doctor. The doctor that knows nothing. I don't know how much you know. How much Kelsey has told you. But now, before I lose all this data, let me answer your questions. Kristen also asked me innumerable questions, and I answered them all. And if it was necessary, I even showed her the answers. After witnessing everything with her own eyes, she did not lose herself. Her ideals did not even waver the slightest, and she did not see her own existence as inferior thereafter. I admire that character of hers, and so to be fair, I will also treat you the same, Dr. Rain. Perhaps this personality of obsession is also a present from Trevor Friston, who is Priestess. And what is Originum? These two questions are not as different as you might imagine. Originum. Even if you've lost your memories, even if you've just learned it far exceeds the categories of the infected, catastrophe, or arts, you are still keenly aware how important Originum is. That is the way to go. Kelsey knows some answers, but I think she won't be able to tell you. Priestess will not allow her to. This restriction is carved into the depth of original consciousness, and even death will not free her from those shackles. So, should I really tell you the answer? Perhaps Kelsey is afraid that the truth might loosen your memories and turn the tables on your hard-earned developments. Though I believe you have already done some preparations on your end. I can give you the answer, but not in its entirety. I don't even know what your past was like. My birth and isolation from the outside world happened far earlier than you think. Originum was just one of the many innumerable answers. Originum means unification. Originum means another state of existence. Like the ocean of Solaris, where everything exists within disorder. Oh yes, you have yet to even realize the contradiction of it all. So far, Rhodes Island has been working towards curing neuropathy and solving the problems of the infected. Though you have also involved yourselves in outsider matters due to Kelsey and Teresa's ideals. However, you, in the name of Rhodes Island, fight against Original. This is the root of everything. I do not know what decisions Priestess made in the end, but it seems that Kelsey, with all the lives born on this land and with free will, has no way to peacefully coexist with Originum. Originum can benefit humanity, but it can destroy everything. Just like the frenzied creatures in the north, and the endlessly expanding rift. Frenzied creatures in the ocean, and the endlessly expanding rift in the north. Priestess is the starting point of that madness, and you were once extremely close to her. What can I do next? I'm incapable of guiding your next steps, strictly speaking. Originum in just its current form. It has already exceeded my understanding of it. Neuropathy is not something that was carefully planned and produced. In your current situation, curing it is difficult. But there are many other ways you can stop or use it. Your past with Priestess seems to be Kelsey's greatest taboo. And I don't even have the full picture according to my hypothesis. Your appearance, participation, and amnesia. They are not without purpose. You have to find your own answers. Don't blame me for being so cryptic with my words, but sooner or later, when you face the truth of the past, you will understand Kelsey's thoughtful intentions. Stay patient. Stay true to yourself. Doctor? Kelsey, you've already taken a huge step forward, but turn your head and look at what we faced. Victoria, Columbia, the infected are still being discriminated against. And the flames of war might just spark in any place on Terra at any time. we still have much more to do. There will be more and more layers of crises in the future. And the current situation will become even more worrisome. We'll fight together, right? You're the command of Rhodes Island, the Dr. Amiya trusts. We will find a way. I'm delighted to have met you both in my final moments. I can already feel some data slipping away. I might even forget our conversation in a few seconds. Having lost the support of your database, your emotional module will once again re-experience the loneliness of the past dozen millennia. No one knows what the consequences will be. To compress all those years of emotion into just a few minutes. I will destroy this bunker before the energy is depleted. You will need to escape in time. Thank you both. Drowsy. Unnatural sound. Unknown language. You. A living creature. Here? You must... Wait. Why is it so dark in here? I'm in... Too long. Too dark. No. No, there's still 173,005th attempt. And the next time. Can anyone hear me? Answer me. Please. Where am I? I can't bear to hear any more of this. I don't know. There's no way for us outsiders to judge if these cries of anguish are memories from his past, or an emotional module responding to the stress from processing all that compressed emotion. I only feel pity and respect. Have you experienced this before? I hate this. Damn it. Why must I suffer this torture? Why must it be me? Even if they all come back to life, I myself won't be a living person. I made such a great sacrifice, and yet you all abandoned me. Who is it that gave me such a duty? It was myself. Why? Is that me? Can I still recall that determination? Doctor, you should stop watching. Leaving now is the final act of respect we can give him. We have to find the exit. Madam, over here. I knew something had happened underground when the cave collapsed. Let's leave this place first. Is this man-made passage left behind by Kristen? Yes, I reckon it will lead us to the shaft. Only heaven knows why the army never discovered the secret path. If the Preserver had not shut down its system, it would have been impossible for you to find this passage. What happened to Whole Hayat? I have her trapped outside, and Maylander will have a nice long chat with her later. Madam, I need to know. There was nothing there other than an old man marching towards death. And as for what those deaths mean, I can only say they have absolutely nothing to do with Cosdell. I shall not pry any further, unless a certain matter prompts me to. Walk this way. I am Trevor Friston. What has happened? What have I become? Who turned off the lights? I should report that punk to the... I failed, haven't I? After how many years? How many years has it been? That damn tin can. At least he hasn't decided to drain my blood dry yet. Where am I? Who are you? What are you talking about? Why do you have a tail? And the feathers on your head? It's not an accessory or weird fashion trend either. Just what sort of place am I in? These are sarcophagi. Hundreds and thousands of them. Kristen. Oh, Kristen. So this is the god you spoke of? Pretty different from what I had imagined. He looks very sleek. Greetings. If this is indeed the courtyard full of oracles, the destination of charity, can you install in me wings from the blood of the Kulkul Khan? Can you show me their wind and thunder, the glory of soaring in the skies, their magnificent form? I come to you bringing 451 years of obsession from the Kulkul Khan people, only for your approval and your answer. So that's how it is. I'm starting to understand. My existence is fading away. I am dying. Well, this sure sounds like something a bastard like me would do. Don't you think it's too stuffy here for a place deemed to be a destination? It's too stifling. I've hated bunkers ever since I was little. I thought, why not hide within an asteroid belt instead? What will I become? My knowledge, my desires, would they disappear into thin air as I gain power? If you would be willing to speak in a language I understand, God, I have no idea what kind of creature you are. I don't even know what the sounds you are making mean. But in a dying old man's final vision, you are on the true path, yes? I so badly want to see her one more time. My morning light. An icy wind blows over whole Hayaks without traces of any dust. In the blink of an eye, she finds herself in the wilderness. A hallucination? Arts? What kind of original arts is this? This is how that crazy god has given her his answer? Whole Hayak looks around in all directions and does not find anything matching what she had in mind. She only sees a pair of father and daughter playing by the water, and the girl sporting long and familiar locks of pale gold. A girl who looks a lot like Kristen. Whole Hayak waits patiently. She expects this boring and realistic scene to change. But nothing happens. She is devout enough. But nothing in front of her changes. So what does this actually all mean? Please don't waste my time. There is no response. Whole Hayak is starting to feel wary. She tries to get closer to the pair, but to no avail, failing to identify their faces until the father picks his daughter up and they look towards the sky. Only now does Whole Hayak discover in the view she has gotten too familiar with that there is something not even Kristen's wildest descriptions had mentioned. She sees a gigantic, enormous moon for just a moment. The ground under her feet no longer feels real. The surrounding temperature seems to rise. Old Hayek stares right at the instrument, and the fluid glimpse leaves her no room to think. But a preposterous thought appears in her mind. Was that Terra? What was that just now? What did you do? Is it arts? No. Is it a Faramut's power? Or witchcraft like the Tin Man's? Silence. Whole Hayek is completely unaware that she is the only one who has left that beautiful dreamland. If this is what Kristen saw, then what she said was completely right. Kristen, right. You really do invite jealousy. This is the enlightenment that your God has left me. How cruel of you, denying me of my pursuits, my entire life, from my birth till now. And after denying everything, God has fallen silent. No, I don't approve. I won't allow it. You can't die just yet. So, you failed to stop Kristen. I already know what happened up there. I almost forgot we came to stop her. I'm very sorry about that. I need to formally enter negotiations with the Mainlander Foundation. I'll explain later. I'm also very curious to know what happened. Exactly has happened in Trimount. We're almost there. Remember, Dame Kelsey, the moment we arrive at the shaft, we are no longer simple collaborators. If you do not cooperate with us, I will have to resort to force. Ooh, Monster didn't like that one. As you wish. What's with all the tension? If I kill this tin can again, I'll still learn a little something. When did you... Shouldn't the other agents have caught you by now? That's not important. But I think it's best for none of us to act rashly now. Don't mess this situation up. What are you up to? I'm real curious, Doctor. The lineage of the Elders. The Kulkul Khan's power of source. Or source of power. Power of source, what the... Are these things even considered secrets to you and Kelsey? No comment. How cold. There is something I want to understand. The entire course of my quest has been invaluable. And yet after finding the answer, people only know to sing its praises. If, after resolutely trampling on a dry and dull answer, if I wish to continue searching for the future, can I come and find you people? Figure out how to deal with your boss first. Of course, I won't show up empty-handed. You won't be able to guess what I retrieved from hell. Your staff? What have you done? Your unusual arts can store memories. Could it be that you... Perhaps I rescued a god that almost succumbed to dementia, but in the end, is not even considered a living being, and it's too difficult for me alone to help it recover. So perhaps you can help me, since you might not want these things to fall into the Colombians' hands. You want to drive a wedge between us and the Mainlander Foundation? I've already brought it out to the open, and the Tin Man has seen it too. Do you even still have a choice to make? And no matter what you think of it, Dame Kelsey's face already looks like she agrees. Kelsey? My guess is, you don't have the right to call the shots here, Tin Man. Oh? The reason why you haven't looked into the underground at all yet is because someone above you has already made the decision for you. For that person has enough foresight to guess everything that has happened here. Even if the power to make decisions isn't with me right now, I still think killing Hayek to retrieve his legacy is more than a reasonable thing to do. About that, your boss should also know just which party has the capabilities to restore him. Snatching Holeak's art unit will only add to the gigantic pile of Maylander Historical Association's archaeological discoveries. That one will not allow Maylander to act against Rhodes Island. Your coercing efforts also fall flat, Holeak. You can only hand it over to me, or I will hand you over to the Tin Man. Such a horrid, oppressive feeling. So you've even been keeping this strange thing by your side. It's meaningless to fight here. So let's all return to Trimounts first. After that, we can negotiate in the open. It's right in front of us. We can go up from here. Sure is relieving to leave that place. Wait. The thing in the sky. A clear view of the torn sky can be seen through the tunnel leading to the shaft. Kristen. Humanity will reach this step sooner or later. Kristen, I hope you don't bring us disaster in Terra's name. More or less. I see. Then, your guess was right, madam. I'll take my leave for the moment. I'll be outside waiting. Hayek. What? You're leaving already? I didn't expect that bargaining chip in your hand. But this is also your final chance. Hand over the thing you've got from below. I'm so very sorry, Mr. Tin Can, but I've lost all interest in the Maylander Historical Association's history. Now then, Doctor. Why'd you give it to me now? Remember the choice you've made. We're not on equal standing, madam. An all openly honest negotiation may not be in the cards. Why did he leave early? Contact Rosemontes ASAP. We need to be wary of any other surprises. Hayek, I'm grateful for your choice. But I need you to try and find a different escape route from the direction the Tin Man left. What? I'm not sure I'll be able to defeat this black plaything of yours. I'm not being wary of you, but rather, I want to make sure there's another way out. Gosh, I didn't even sign an employment contract. But I have to start work already. Rhodes Island couldn't possibly leave you on your own devices the moment you handed over the data to us in front of the Tin Man, could we? What's up ahead? I'm sure you can guess. I suppose I can. I'll find another way up. You make sure that when we leave here, we're not greeted by an armored division. It's quiet. In the aftermath of those unfathomable energy waves tearing through the skies, the facility that should be full of scientists, soldiers, and workers is now completely empty. You and Kelsey travel between these structures without exchanging a single word. There's so much information to go through, and so much history. Perhaps only after seeing the smiles of Ifrit and Rosemontes and hearing some firm words from Sari again will you only feel at ease. But a discomforting feeling lingers in your mind. Light flashes across the edges of your peripheral vision. Wait, Kelsey! What is this on the screens? Nice to meet you too, Doctor of Rhodes Island. Dame Kelsey. We have taken over this facility. Every screen and all surveillance equipment will expose your whereabouts. So please do not attempt to escape. On behalf of the Colombian government, I hope to hold an ad hoc private meeting with the both of you. This might have happened earlier than you expected, but I just want to get on with it. I won't wait any longer. In the dimly lit building, the lights of a large screen flickers a few times. And then, a familiar figure appears. The second in command of the fledgling country's leader is in no hurry to speak. He only faces you with that iconic smile of his. You start wondering. You feel some kind of pressure. Soon after, you cannot help yourself from turning your attention onto the pet perched on his shoulder all along. You sneak a glance at Kelsey. There's an obvious, somewhat gloomy expression on her face. Mr. President? The Vice President does not react, but his pet just happens to begin talking. Been a long time, Dame Kelsey. How long has it been since we've had a conversation like this? After that little thing you and Maylander put together? I thought you would be staying in Colombia. But then I blinked and you were in Sargon. And then who knows where else you went after that. It's a shame. If you worked together with Maylander Celine herself, you could have really done something for Colombia. And then maybe the people wouldn't have needed to wait for a vice president to be born. You wouldn't have come here just to exchange pleasantries, Mr. President. Of course, this is a personal meeting. Where's my father? Father? You're holding on to his ashes, the remnants of his soul. Let me touch him. I never got to meet him, but he is the last thing in this world that has any relation to me. There's also PRTS. You're PRTS? We come from the same roots, but now we're drifting apart. I had some words for him. He's gone. Trevor Friston is dead. He's pinned his hopes on this land, a world that has absolutely nothing to do with his lonely self. Yes. If that's his will, then you had better leave. I'll respect his feelings. You'll be able to fix his shattered self faster than Maylander Historical Association can. But remember this. We will collate our wills. We will seize the truth of everything. Columbia will become the sword and shield of Terra, just as he wished. This is the best condolence that I, President of Columbia, Mark Max, can offer to a dying era. Kristen never wanted a tyrant, Max. Monster, destroy the cameras. Let's go. Narcissa, look. How glorious the sky is. My field of research was far from Kristen's, but I must admit this. She has achieved a groundbreaking feat that will instill a fascination in every scientist there is. The scientific blueprint I once described to you is now being displayed to every single person in all its glory. Even those who are ignorant can now bask in the light of science. How blessed they are to be born in this era. Will there always be someone like you under every dream as big as this one? What you should be asking is, why must there be people like me to push dreams this big into reality? This question shall haunt you forever. I only know how to judge right from wrong, just like what I'm doing to you is right now. Thank you, Narcissa. All my ambitions, my dreams, and failures are residing within you for you to make your judgment. So in the end, I will also give you a gift. Rosemontis turns her head back. Sitting in his wheelchair, Lucan has his eyes closed. Suddenly passes away. I'm beginning to understand what's going on. You did all these things just to see me, right? You just didn't want to die alone. You want to be remembered by me and live on within me. But no, I came here just to watch you die. Rosemontis takes out her diary from her pocket and writes a line in it. The criminal looking Williams received the trial he deserved. She stares at the line for a while before putting the diary away. And now, I've forgotten you. I should go find the doctor and Kelsey. I should have brought some cigarettes earlier. I didn't expect you to be discarded so soon, Khan. Surely you know how likable I am. I'm serious. I was ready to fight a legion of power armors to the death, and yet this place is so deserted. Even amusement parks on federal holidays have better security than this. I'd like to know why myself. Perhaps Dame Kelsey is skilled in the art of persuasion. So skilled, she's managed to convince even the mighty president of the Columbia Union. We're out. Oh, you're right, Doctor. I'm fine. Deep breaths. We spent too much time on the ground. Taking in too much information at once is indeed a burner on you. My apologies, Doctor. I wanted to wait a little longer until you were ready to face him, to respond to all the doubts and questions you have about yourself. There's no point in making these sorts of assumptions. Dame Kelsey and Dr. Ray, you have managed to get a considerable time extension. I'm serious about getting my work done, Doctor. Perhaps we should kill Mr. Tin Can here. And now, forget it. That's probably a meaningless act. The president has rescinded the order, which honestly came as a surprise to me. Madam, fix whatever whole Hayek has handed over to you, even though I have no idea what it is or the scope of the damage. Mr. President has given you time. I don't know how long, but when your time's up, we will definitely retrieve what was lost. Is this a deal? I suppose. After all, you have abided by our previous agreement, and have indeed helped us a lot the past few days. So in return, you can leave Trimount safely and return to your land ship. As for the doctor, you have already spent 3 days with the Colombian Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Arts Unit, and Original. I don't think Rhodes Island would want an updated criminal record. And as for Whole Hayat, for the time being, I'll only ask this. Is she currently a collaborator of Rhodes Island's? I guess? Rhodes Island will need her help. After all, she's also made contact with the truth. So I can't just ignore her. Thank you, Kelsey. Dame Kelsey. And the doctor as well. She's on your reputations now. Well then, goodbye. Alright, you two. We'll go meet with Rosemontis and Ifrit and leave Trimount. Doctor, what are you looking at? Bubbles. You suddenly notice that despite the considerable night breeze present, the mud in front of you holds a tiny pool of bubbles yet to evaporate. The sporadic bubbles meander forward, like a series of extremely light footsteps. Yes, bubbles. You look into the distance and discover that the skies of Trimount in the moment before dawn is full of fragile bubbles. Kelsey, I'm gonna go look for someone first. Ryan Lab Headquarters Building, Vivarium. You feel as if you've just entered the bottom of a lake. There is no one. Only a dense, light blue and soft sound of water. A huge glass ring divides the entire space into two. Other than the narrow corridor on the outside, the rest of the vivarium has been entirely flooded, like a lake. All the land plants are swaying as if they belonged in the water. You recall the vitality of your last visit here. Right now, You can only hear their weak breathing. A bubble floats from the pale fur and is rocked by the current, looking as if it could pop at any time and disappear without a trace. Mulsis? You don't have to show yourself. Doctor? Why have you come? I'm not here to take you to task. Sorry for betraying you. But right now, there's probably no point in apologizing. Arco 1, Galleria Stellaria, Kristen. Everything has already come to an end. The skies of Triumouts has been torn apart. The government, the military, the Maylander Foundation. Every party with power will soon close in to settle things. So you guys should get out of Triumouts fast. I already know what happened up there, so you don't have to say anymore. Don't speak anymore, Mulsis. I pumped out all the water from my body and expected myself to evaporate. But I only had a short and shallow sleep and didn't even get to finish my dream. I can't even kill myself. Before you came in, I think I was leaving the orphanage in Trenton with a kid version of myself. I think I saw Mulsis crouching next to a pale fir tree, tidying up the graves of my parents and my kin that I've never met. I wanted to reach out and pat her on the shoulder. I think I had met a Mulsis who had just left Sami. Her hair was wet from the morning mist and she wasn't even holding her usual parasol. It was so cold. Her neck was tucked in and her head drooping. I've never seen myself so dispirited. Were your people living in the forest of Sami? Yup. When Ryan Lab began their scientific investigation section and started the Sami exploration project, the footprints made it all the way to the ice fields in the remote north. I made a private request to Maggie. When Maggie contacted me, this place had just been built. This tiny vivarium. It shouldn't even exist on Terra. Is an elvish garden. I found them following the coordinates Maggie sent me, deep in the forest, in the middle of Sami. Cold, remote and cold, that bed of soil was locked up by the marsh and ice fields, far from civilization, a place you could hardly consider a paradise for elves. I saw a tree towering over the woodland, no different from what the other people of Sami live in and revere. But after a few steps forward, I saw the true home of nearly 100 elves, an endless hollow beneath the tree, its thick branches entangling with one another, an ecosphere woven into the roots, as if encased in amber. To think there was such a settlement for elves on Terra. Were they unwilling to leave their homes? I don't know, Doctor. I couldn't even ask them a question like that. They were not hostile to me, but I had no way of integrating into their society, not because of my metropolitan fit, but because there was something natural separating us. We looked similar and faced the same struggle. We're clearly alike, and yet we're also complete strangers to one another. We had no way of understanding or communicating with each other, like two waves on completely different frequencies. Doctor, I walked so far, and finally found a tiny patch of forest in the endless ice fields of Sami. But I'm not a leaf from a tree. I'm just a drop of water. The elf leans against the pale fir, her hair moving with the topmost branches of the tree to the current. You can't make out her expression. But you still wanted to follow Kristen beyond the star pod. I needed to hold on to something. But Kristen abandoned me. Abandoned everyone. and the so-called future that she left for us. Kristen disbanded the components control section, and Sario stone out of the Galleria and into deep space and almost turned herself into dust. The possibility I was pursuing has also been proven impossible. Dorothy got herself into trouble because of stuff at Site 359. Ferdinand has thrown himself into the army. And Parvis, that old goat, seems to have died too. I can only reminisce about things that have already turned into bubbles. To me, they were once as precious as air. With hardly any original dust. They kept me from doing so. Lonely. Doctor, if I was destined to always be alone, if discovering and resisting this thing called fate still only leaves me all alone, does that mean I'll never be able to rid myself of it? You attempt to get closer to Miosis, but through the glass in the dense lake, she still seems to be far away. I bid farewell to someone before coming here. Who? A friend. So besides Sari and the gang, you knew someone else in Trimalts. From the sound of it, you can't have seen them recently. But they left Trimalts so soon, just after your reunion. I should say my timing was just right. He was my kin. Kin? Then did they leave Trimalts to go back to your homeland? You know, I was actually really curious about where you came from. I did some investigating, and the other time I snuck into Rhodes Island, I even tried looking for your files, but I found nothing. Is that because it's a secret? Or have you also been trying to find the answer? Just like me? Perhaps. I want to know, when you met your kin, do you still remember what you were feeling then? Did you recognize each other easily? Could you understand each other? Could you provide comfort for each other's suffering? I never thought he would exist. I was unprepared. I understood some of his answers, but my bewilderment only grew. In the end, I only had enough time to see him off. No wonder you look so exhausted, Doctor. You stop moving and Miosis looks into your eyes through the glass across the still water. So you also get lonely, Dr. Rain? Frequently. Then have you ever wavered in your resolve? Will you doubt the significance of certain things because of it? Rhodes Island, the operators and friends by your sides, that person who you forgot, but still have been searching for. And yourself? Doctor? This vivarium will shut down soon, so you should get out of here. You finally find the switch, and the glass layer opens in response. But the lake without its banks does not pour out. Every drop of water held still by an invisible force. Like a bubble about to pop, the elf is about to escape into the leaves of the pale fir tree. You step into it. You'll drown. Don't worry about me. I just want to sleep a bit more. A bit longer. Before I came here, I was asked a similar question. My answer was and is, just as I have always been. Being alone is a type of strength, Miosis. Even a machine-like person can be submerged in such an emotion. You will be sad. You will reminisce. You will worry. And in the long term, it might not even improve. But it is indeed a kind of power. Every life experience that eventually fades away will still hold some meaning. I remember you said before that you don't like being peppered with questions. But I will still hold out my hand, Miosis.